Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. The community takes it as a message from the CTO of Ripple not to sell their XRP details. That is the crypto basic headline. David Schwartz, who is not only the Chief Technology Officer of Ripple, but also a co-creator of XRP and the XRP ledger, is clearly the one they are referring to. Does he, however, intend for the XRP community to refrain from selling their XRP? Although it's intriguing, I'd still say it's fine. The point is that it gets to the heart of the matter. If you insist that people not sell their XRP, they will disagree. It seems foolish to me. However, the story's central theme is the idea of making a hasty sale. I should preface this by saying that I come from absolutely no financial background. Do not take my financial advice as gospel. Also, you shouldn't base any purchases or sales on what I say, right? As a pastime and for fun, I enjoy making films on YouTube regarding crypto-related subjects. I'm just an enthusiast. Listen, I'll say this right off the bat about selling too soon. No one knows where a market will top, even when discussing individual market cycles. Just from a conceptual standpoint, it might not even be crypto if the asset in question is not cryptocurrency. Just because there's a parabolic structure on the chart doesn't mean you can tell if you're racing up quickly after it peaks. Which is to say, you can't be sure it will return at all. Does it remain at zero indefinitely? Even if they fluctuate in value alongside the market, there are a few cryptocurrencies that reached a record high in 2017. Even though they did it in the previous cycle, they didn't do it this time around. So, see, selling too quickly is typically a foolish and irrational concept. Seeing how prices move in the future will cause a lot of individuals to regret selling. Yeah, I get it. I get that. However, it is often irrational. Allow me to delve into this for you. It appears to read like this. In light of recent disclosures by Ripple CTO David Schwartz, members of the XRP community have discovered a hidden message that warns against selling XRP too soon. A few years ago, Schwartz made a terrible investment choice with his Ethereum portfolio. He recently tweeted about it. We can skip the introduction and get right into this. The real content that he posted on social media platform X is as follows. All of you know that I made $40,000 selling 40,000 ETH. I spent over $100 million shortly after installing solar panels on a house that I no longer own. This one, people, has to have happened at the very beginning. I pulled up the historical price chart on Live Coin Watch. This suggests that it probably occurred sometime around the beginning of the first half, or perhaps it occurred after the first half. However, in 2015, you can see what I'm doing on the screen since I was scrolling through. As we move from 2015 into 2016, we can see the prices scrolling by. I don't suppose it ever dropped below that price range again. You can see that it was running a bit by 2016. Therefore, it has to have been in 2015. From September 17, 2015, to October 8, 2015, you can observe that it was 7 cents. Think about the value of 59 cents for the purchase of ETH. But can you fathom purchasing XRP for half the price of any other cryptocurrency? It happened, too. However, this is where things move forward quite quickly. Also, it's not too far away from this spot. Sure enough, it was already up to $1.25 as early as January 17, 2016, a full year later. You can see that it increases to $1,314 in June when you skip forward a little. Thus, 2015 must have been the year. You are aware that David Schwartz has been involved in crypto from the very beginning, though. I know what you're thinking. He made $1 off of the sale of 40,000 ETH. He had 40 grand at this point in time. You're probably thinking that sounds great. This is something I've heard him mention before. I have heard him mention this in the past, but he just shared the news of this new company yesterday. And I recall him saying at the time, when I first heard him talk about this, that it seemed like a fantastic deal because, you know, it went from, like, whatever he would have invested initially, say, $20,000, to, like, $40,000, now, it seems like a hell of a profit. Consequently, he made a profit. Of course, that's just okay. I mean, it's important to recognize when something catches your eye. For example, you shouldn't be hard on yourself if you didn't know the winning lottery numbers last week. I don't think so. This is going to happen. People will sell XRP with the intention of later realizing, wow, I had a ton of XRP when I was younger, maybe even tens of thousands of XRP, in contrast to their current STASH of $50 or whatever it turns out to be. If I had waited just a little bit longer, I would have had millions more. And I get it when people say they want to do it. But that's a waste of time. I sell with the assumption that it will likely be worth much more in the future if I am correct about XRP, because it is meaningless right now. From a sustainability standpoint. Yeah. For what it's worth, I'm holding out hope that the remainder of the individuals that hung in there will be rewarded handsomely, regardless of whether he's riding the current market cycle. Trust me when I say that. Even yet, I will not be too hard on myself. I most certainly am not. Things don't rise in a straight line, just like their correction, and I'll simply wait for you to tell me no, there's no doubt about it. Because if it doesn't, it will be the first occurrence in the chart's history, correct? There is no such thing as an infinitely straight line for a sense. It contains every single example of. At this point, all that remains is to determine how much it drops. However, we will be there in the blink of an eye if a parabolic advance is being discussed. XRP is currently trading at $515, whatever that means. So, my strategy is to sell while prices are rising, wait for them to fall so I can make a profit, and then start purchasing again at the new low, or whatever it may be. The silver lining, though, is that it will never fall again, even if you're among those who rush. My opinion differs from yours. That has never happened in recorded history, thus I find it absurd. And even if you're correct, and I'm bringing this up after a parabolic advance, I will still be selling XRP because I'm content with the incredible fortune they've amassed. In addition, that sum is all I'll ever receive from it. I intend to put it to good use, not fritter it away, but rather invest it so that it may generate much more income. Additionally, I will be putting it into preservation mode. Consequently, it will be considerably more cautious than putting money into cryptocurrency. It is reasonable to have a plan for preserving your wealth when you have amassed substantial fortune, and that includes crypto. You don't proceed carelessly. I mean, really, it's apparent. However, he declared that he had additional remarks regarding this matter. Therefore, according to David Schwartz, my father ironically engaged in nearly identical behavior. My parents decided they no longer needed the huge house we were living in after my older siblings left, but it required a lot of repairs before it could be sold. My dad spent a ton of money tearing the house down and starting over. But in the months that followed, the real estate market collapsed, and renovation expenses skyrocketed, causing him to incur a massive loss on the transaction. But guess what he did to pay for the renovations and new house? He sold his Apple stock, which happened to be worth 5 times as much at the time. I guess it's in the family business. Right there on your screen, you can see the photo of his father, which he then shared. Everyone does this, so it's not that you're awful, foolish, or stupid, it's just that you can't predict what the future holds. My guess is that he isn't being too hard on himself. It would be unreasonable for David Schwartz to be so hard on himself over this, so I really hope he isn't. This is particularly true in the beginning, when it's important to drive home the point. Look at this, someone wrote 100,000 in response to David Schwartz. That is correct. If he had hung on, he would have had over $100 million in his own estimation not long after that. In response to the question of whether or not one could still sleep after spending $100 million, David Schwartz offered what I consider to be a fairly reasonable explanation. We could have all made a nice 170x profit in 6 years if we had purchased Bitcoin at $350 and sold it at $60,000, he added. This is a story that every crypto space veteran has heard. Therefore, it's not like this happened last week, it's more like this is an extinction-level event. Like I said previously, that is correct. Truthfully, you will never again experience anything like this. It's like the arrival of this miraculous internet money, it's just not going to happen. So, will there ever be a time when it's completely apart from that? Is this level of excitement accompanied by this amount of capital? Theoretically, that could, even though I have my doubts, I can assure you that it is not cryptocurrency. This is truly an unprecedented occurrence. And this is happening to us right now. This is why it's the perfect time to dive in, during those formative years. Indeed, we were all in the same boat. Plus, there was a lot more ambiguity in those days. That is merely an assertion of fact. As if we're in 2023 and things are easier for us. Seeing major players like BlackRock enter the crypto space makes it seem less daunting. Saying, yeah, obviously, it's easier for us. This place will always be. It wasn't as certain in the first, say, 4 or 5 years, let alone 345 years, and there are those who are absolutely certain that they were correct. Prior to that, though, a great deal of uncertainty existed. Being weightless is a wonderful thing. You never know how high it will go, so naturally, people were cashing in. None of this has ever occurred previously. None of this has ever happened before. In light of this, it is true that you can say that sure, I'm grateful. Quarterback for Monday morning games concealed. It states that there is zero. It's reminiscent of South Park's Captain Hindsight. Do any of you remember that episode? Captain, in hindsight, you've done nothing to help us. Therefore, you should simply weigh out. You just have to make sure that the goals you set for yourself are really appealing. The next step is to take responsibility of your actions and see them through. When you make a plan, you stick to it. If you're selling something that you're really into right now, you just made a ton of money, so stay focused. Plus, there are additional opportunities. In fact, there are endlessly more opportunities. And maintained Schwartz, David. He had or has, but I have no idea how much he sold. However, he has previously admitted that he had 16 million XRP, as he did many years ago. It is well known that he does that. That, by the way, was not bestowed upon him. He had to go out and get it on his own. Plus, the price is something I am not privy to. It would still be worth around $80,000 even if it were half a penny in those days. I have no idea how much he would have spent. It may have arrived directly, or there might have been a special offer, I'm not sure. Whoever he bought it for is a mystery to me. Even though he claimed to be from Ripple, I have no idea if that is true. Conversely, what if he purchased it on the open market? I am uncertain. I have no idea how much he would have spent on that. Yet 16 million of them. I have no idea what his assets would be worth right now, so I really don't know. Not that we will even hazard an opinion on the matter. But think about the level of cryptography involved. On the other hand, tales like that abound. For example, consider the first Bitcoiners. Even though Bitcoin was worthless in its early days, now there are all sorts of people who own thousands of Bitcoins. Obviously, at this point in time, you would have more money than God. Who will do it? He merely clung to it. Long ago, that happened. Bitcoin, after all, is nearly 15 years old now. Therefore, it has been somewhat unreasonable to assume that this would be the case. However, I did see some remarks along these lines, so maybe he is trying to convey a secret message. I believe they were joking, though. I pray they were being ironic. Does this mean that David Schwartz doesn't want you to sell XRP? No. Hopefully, that leaves nearly no one who believes that holding in Windsor isn't a reasonable option. For that reason, I am a fan of the concept of selling too soon, which is introduced in the video's early stages. For the most part, it's illogical and foolish since it's up to you. It's up to you, you decide what it is, and do it. It would be unreasonable to punish yourself in the future if its value increases significantly. Well, I think that covers it. Personally, I see it that way. That way, I can hear your opinions. However, I find no wrongdoing on his part. Whatever he got, I'm happy for him. This isn't something trivial. I don't think it's bad. The fact remains. Indeed, he would have clung to his superpower, the ability to perceive into the future, if he had possessed one. You would definitely purchase the ticket for next week's lottery right now if you knew the winning numbers, wouldn't you? Where does that even begin to lead? Insignificant, as it is located in the middle of nowhere. Financial advisors aren't my specialty. No matter what I say, you shouldn't buy or sell anything. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.